I am in the show.
You are in the show, and I'm in the show, and Rich is in the show.
We're all in the show.
We are all in the show.
It is
It's
time
a threesome
for the show. It's a three-way.
It's a three-way. So
it's very apropos to the movie.
Yeah, it is.
Doesn't say.
It's the triumphant return of We Are Not Even Supposed to Watch This Today. So thank you for joining us, guys. Today we have David with us, aka the 4K Lowdown. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about Zack and Miri Make a Porno. Now, since Dave, you don't join us every movie, what do you think of this movie?
Well, I do have an intro to run, but
let's do it.
Let him run the intro. We got to watch that.
Let's plug the intro because I spent minutes and minutes working on it. So
we have
kind of like a
minutes. And in fact, it's less than a minute. So let's do that, and then we'll gather our thoughts. So here we go. 5, 4, 3, 2. Show. That's the wrong clip.
You put it. That's kind of like putting it in the wrong hole.
I did. I put it in the wrong hole.
You put it in the wrong hole, bro.
I'm not saying that hasn't happened.
Hey, that's going to be a special feature of this.
Yeah.
That'll be a. Ooh.
That's a deleted scene.
Right. I left Clerks there from last time. I didn't join you guys that time. So I was like, intro video. That's the one. Nope, that's not the one.
Clerks
so I'm favorite.
What are you talking about?
Yeah, not my favorite. All right. Here we go. Let's try this again. 5, 4, 3, 2. Show.
Look at that. Thank you so much. That awesome.
Complete with its own porn music. So yeah, I was already.
You got to do what you got to do in that sense.
Got to do it. It's got to happen.
Yeah.
That's right.
I am glad to be back, and I'm glad David's joining us, Adam.
Happy to be here.
Yeah, man. So David, we're going to jump right into this, man. You're not a big Kevin Smith fan. So what did you think of Zack and Miri Make a Porno?
Okay. So I didn't know, again, just like Jersey Girl, I didn't know that this was a Kevin Smith movie. I am not a fan of Seth Rogen.
Yep.
Start right off the bat. I'm not a Seth Rogen fan. But there is, and we're going to talk about this in a little bit, but there is something that sets this movie apart for me that makes this a good comedy. There's one factor, and it's something that my 5-year-old brain absolutely has to have in a comedy. And that is the poo scene.
I knew it.
So this has one of the best, I'm gonna say kick-ass poo scenes of any comedy that's out there. And bar none, that's why I like about this movie.
I mean, we're starting with that bar like down here.
Oh yeah, that bar is set really low.
Bar is very, very low.
Speaking of the bar really low, Corey wanted to say hi.
What's up, Corey?
What's up?
How you doing,
but
man?
First was Chris.
Chris gets the cookie.
Chris gets the cookie. Best movie by far for Seth.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
I gotta go with 50-50.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 50-50 is really
I think 50-50 is my favorite Seth Rogen movie.
Yeah.
And then I really liked him in The Fabelmans. I was surprised by his role in The Fabelmans. I thought he did a good job there. Low bar equals me. That's right.
I think that's all of us. That's why we're here.
All of us. But the bar is set really low in this. You know, Corey's got 5 shirts. We're having a threesome. Chris was the first one here. We've got 3 numbers already just taken care of.
I mean, if if this isn't the end all be all of all the sausage parties that I want to be involved in.
That's right.
To you gentlemen.
This is the ultimate sausage fest. This is the one. If you're going to be a part of any sausage fest, this is it right here.
Because it's old, oldest down there. So, you know, it's three bears, one cave. I mean, that's really what.
This is where you're like, oh yeah, that's
right.
sausage.
Right. But no, Dave, Dave, I have to agree with you. The fact is, it's very it's a very weird one to start, because you're like, do I want to like it? Do I not want to like it? And then as it progresses, you're like, they're humanizing these characters. Like it's almost a weirdly poetic part of being the human experience in something like that, because it's all parts of the things that we could relate to. And I think Kevin actually struck a nerve in this one with me, and maybe a lot of people, when it comes down to things that you need to do to survive, and you could actually see yourself doing some of these things. And for that, I dig the film. I mean, maybe not Dogma high, maybe not Chasing Amy low, but it's right there in the it's up there, because it's after a second viewing of more than probably a decade later. I have to say that I sat there and very, very much enjoyed it.
I am right with you.
Go ahead. Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead.
I wasn't a fan of this movie when it first came out, and I watched it a couple years ago, I think, and I still didn't like it. But for some reason, yesterday when I watched it, I felt the connection there. I think it's because of the love story between Zack and Miri, best friends, and they just grow to admit they love each other. And I think that's what I connected with the most.
Yep.
And all the boobies, we all like.
Well,
boobies.
I mean, there's some good fake boobies in this for sure.
Yeah, there's a lot.
There's
all the boobies.
Yeah, I found myself liking this time around.
Yeah, it's a very unique. It's almost like a B movie experience that gets better with viewing. We all have that B movie that we like. That we all have that. Yeah, that's right.
That's where mine was. That's where mine was.
But like, we all have that B movie that we really like, and then we always want to get someone else to enjoy it with us, and they're like, "What is this?" And you're like, "That's what to me." But I'm starting to feel that this is that like drive-in movie that I can put on, and then if somebody comes in and they're like, "What's this?" I'm like, "You gotta watch it. It's awesome." Like that's how I feel about this title for sure.
Yeah, I would like to get a better release of this, because I think I would buy it again. Yeah, if they did a good release.
To show our audience, I actually have I think a pretty cool copy of this one. I actually have the Blockbuster exclusive Zack and Miri Make a Porno. It came out, I believe, in 2008, as I'm looking at the back. And I like this one because
it came out 2009, the Blu-ray.
Yes,
the DVD.
I like this one because not only does it say Blockbuster on it, because you can't see that anymore, but it actually has the full title, because lo and behold, they actually switched the title on this some years later when they released it, because it was just Zack and Miri. So to find the one with the full title is always one of my favorite things to do when looking for this one out in the wild, for sure.
That's pretty cool find, my friend. I just have the Blu-ray that says Zack and Miri Make a Porno.
No, I have the DVD too, and I think I have the Blockbuster exclusive also.
Yeah.
Oh, damn. Nice. Yeah, I think I would buy this again, because mine's a used copy and it's kind of beat up, the case. So I hope we get another release. What's up, Evan? How you doing?
Hey, what's up, Evan?
I'm not a fan of the actors at all.
Like the actors in the movie.
Yeah, I'm with you, Evan. But I think it's the love story that gets me. I identify with.
It's a good one. I mean, it's lowbrow relatable.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go over some facts here.
I
So,
always like this part of I like this part of the evening when Rich does the facts. I like this.
yeah, I like finding the facts because
Yeah.
some stuff I didn't know. Oh, yeah. So the first fact up is going to be it was released at TIFF. It's a film festival on September 7th, 2008. And then it got a theatrical release in October, on October 31st, 2008.
Halloween. Nice.
Yeah. Kevin Smith tells a story on one of his evenings with how he thought it's going to make all kinds of money because it's going to open up Halloween. Adults don't go trick or treating, but then he failed to realize that parents take their kids trick or treating.
Yes.
Yeah, it was not a good day.
I don't think he thought that through. He didn't think
no.
The budget for this movie it's fairly low, like most Kevin Smith movies. The budget was $24 million. And you could really, really tell.
And that's weird to think because, if you gave me $24 million, I could make a movie that was just, you think back in 2008 money, $24 million. You're like, oh my God, what could you do with $24 million? But then you look at $24 million and that's what came out of the camera. And you kind of go, that's pretty crazy to think that that's what came out of the camera for $24 million. Like, somebody gave me $24 million today, there'd be CGI in it. There'd be like all kinds of, but it's weird to me that $24 million was what came out of the camera, and it's not even like, intercontinental sets. It's probably like 4 or 5 sets, like
all in Pittsburgh,
maybe. Yeah, all of Pittsburgh, clearly. And I went to school in Pittsburgh, so I have an affliction for this movie too, because I was like, I was some of those places that they filmed.
And I think when you say, I think the aesthetic of it, the way that's the look of the film, I think that's on purpose.
Yes,
they want it to be like real life looking and stuff. But yeah, this is looks very cheap. It's like, I know they're supposed to be poor and you want to get that dirty gritty feeling. Yeah. So this movie, he thought it was going to make a bunch of money, only grossed $42.8 million, which turns out to be at the time Seth Rogen's lowest grossing movie. I don't know if it still is, but at the time it was.
And it's weird that's because that kind of money is a break even movie, because even when you double your money, you're just breaking even in Hollywood, and actually that's even below breaking even, so it was just slightly below breaking even.
Yeah, because there's no way to really market it, this movie, because as we'll find out later, there were some issues. A little fun fact is Rosario Dawson was intended to play Miri, but there was
that
a scheduling conflict where she couldn't do it. Which, can you imagine the beautiful Rosario Dawson?
Smith does better with no names. Yeah, I mean, I got to be honest. See, it's kind of now
it makes the budget smaller. So yeah, probably most of it was paying Elizabeth Banks.
Yeah.
I mean,
okay, when you have sex with Seth Rogen, okay, you're gonna have to pay me.
I mean, if that was Rosario Dawson, I would have been like, can I do this part?
Sarah.
Can I do it for free? Is okay? Like, do you mind?
I'll pay you.
Yeah, I was like, if you pay for my cab ride home, I'll do it for free. That's all I'm saying.
I hope you had fun at basketball practice.
I hope you did too. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's a crazy thing to think that it was intended for her, and yet it went to Elizabeth Banks. But I will say, Elizabeth Banks, one of the very few things I really dig her in, because it's kind of fit her. It really did.
I agree.
She made it fit her.
And her character felt real life. Like it was it was like you could just like peek in somebody at the Starbucks or whatever the hell that place was called. Did
Dude,
they do Jan Santos back? So what's his can kiss someone? You mean when Jay kissed Shannon Elizabeth? So what you're talking about?
that's a little, yeah, that was a
Only thing
little
I
off.
can, yeah.
But yeah, no, it was. I could see where it was written for her, and I still think she would have very much fit in with that Pittsburgh aesthetic. I really do think I could see that very much. She would have played that well. But yeah, it's a shame that she didn't get it. I'll be honest, it's a shame she didn't get it.
Yeah. So this was got. If you've seen the movie, you know there's a lot of nudity, a lot of sex. It's a raunchy movie.
Yeah.
So when he submitted to the MPAA, it got an NC-17 rating, and he had to chop it down, do a few things to finally get an R rating.
Well, could you imagine? Could you imagine if it came out as NC-17, that 42.8 would have gone down to like 27? Like it wouldn't even. It would
Probably not even that. It probably wouldn't have
no
been $1 million.
No.
Yeah. Because I think the only person that can get away with an NC-17 and still have it make money is like a David Lynch, or a one of those type guys right there. That's the only type of dude that can get away with an NC-17 at release, and people are like, we got to go see that.
You're right. You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
The media outlets, of course, wouldn't run the posters or the trailers because it had porno in it. So they had to chop the name up a little bit. Zack and Miri, confuse the marketplace.
It's a very bizarre time because if you think about that, if you make a movie like that with a name like that now in 2024 / 2023, when we kind of talked about this, it would have done gangbusters because people were seeing porno on the side. They're like, let's go see that. What is that?
I agree.
I agree. It was way, way ahead of its time. This movie was like the talking heads of the film, if you think about it.
It opened. This is funny because it only grossed $10.7 million on its opening weekend. It opened up number 2 behind High School Musical 3.
Wow.
I mean, the third Zac Efron singing movie.
And now Zac Efron's a wrestler.
Yeah.
I want to see the Iron Claw. I have not seen that yet, but I want to see
good.
Looks good. Because I grew up watching was it AWA? I grew up watching that. And I grew up watching that stuff, and I was like, hey man, I remember the Von Erichs. I remember them quite well. And it makes me want to watch that because from the trailer, I was like, this looks amazing.
Yeah. It was a good movie.
Yeah.
Okay, enough. Kubrick did that. Kubrick did that with the Eyes Wide Shut.
Last movie. And yeah. It's been forever since I've seen that.
It's one. I'll tell you one. You go back and you rewatch it, and you go, this is above and beyond. Like it really is. Like I found, speaking of Kubrick, I always talk about this. I found 2001 Space Odyssey at a flea market for $3 for the 4K of that, and it came with everything. And I actually read something about that he filmed that in 8K back in the 70s. And when you watch it, I was like, no wonder it's filmed so well. And I was like, I almost want to put it in my wife's Xbox One and watch it because it does do 4K. But I was like, I don't have a 4K TV, so I don't even feel like I'll do it justice even if I watch it, because apparently people who have the 4K TVs and watch it said it's one of the most beautiful things that they've ever seen.
It is.
The colors
are really good.
Fantastic. 4K. It really does.
Like I really want to watch it, but I'm like, it's like I feel like I'll be doing it an injustice and watching it on a CRT TV, if you will, but no. Aside from that, yes, Rich, I apologize for tangenting.
No, that's okay, man. That's okay. So we got one more fun fact left, and we kind of hit on it earlier. DVD Blu-ray release came out on the same day, February 3rd, 2009. 9. And there was the DVDs came out with some that just said Zack and Miri, and then as the ones you and Dave have had Zack and Miri Make a Porno. My Blu-ray says Zack and Miri Make a Porno, but yeah.
Yes, apparently the Blu-ray with the full title was a little harder to find than the one without. So you actually have a little rarer piece there.
That's the one I have.
Yes, very cool.
I did have the movie going, so as we kind of talk about it, that's the last fun fact.
I dig it.
Yeah.
It was a good. Like I said, it's a good time. I could see this being I could honestly see this being do the HDR through so you won't have the right color. Yeah, clearly, that's what I'm saying. I wouldn't. I feel like not watching it because of said thing. But no, this was one of those ones you go back and you really revisit it, and you started from the beginning, and I knew you were going to play it there, and you kind of look at it and you go, man, it's relatable in the fact that we all hit, most of us, not all, but most of us who are watching this, we all hit middle age, and we go, what the hell is going on? Like you don't realize that it might be as hard as it is, where you get, you hit those late 20s and you go, the dream catcher didn't catch anything. It's the bottom of the third quarter and I'm losing. What's going on? like, you know what I mean? That's how I was easily able to relate to these characters in this, because you sit there and go, I think we've all been there. I really do. I think that's the most relatable part of it, because it opens up with people just being themselves and not succeeding, not
struggling,
just struggling. Yes.
Yeah.
I think that's 99% of us, at middle age or late 20s, early 30s, you may be killing it, but that's the 1%. The rest of us just have a job that's food on the table.
Yeah. Meaningless job. Yeah. So that's anything else you want to add, Dave, before we kind of go right into this?
Nope, I'm good.
Except you don't want to tell us about your aspiring times to be a porno star?
Oh, I was a porn star for like 3 movies, and then it just went downhill after that.
Yeah.
No, I wasn't a porn star, but I was a stripper.
Oh,
nice.
And no, it was not. It was absolutely. It was scary. Is what it was. Have you ever seen Lions at the Hunt? That's what it was. But no, now I'm a reverse stripper, so people pay me to put my clothes back on.
Yeah, me too, man. Me too.
I'm gonna be right.
I make the same amount of money that way, and it's actually easier for me.
It wasn't Chip and Dale's. It was just chips, and people were
just chips and dip. That's what it was. It was chips and dips. You're just like, all right,
right. No Dale there. He was
no
gone.
Dale.
No, that's right.
That's awesome.
But now it's go ahead, Rich.
I was just listening to you guys.
No, it's like I like the fact that this is the kind of film too that was filmed in a steel town, in a real working man's town, in a blue collar town, in an area where kids, and just like me, I grew up in a blue collar town.
Me too.
An idea where you might go to school, but you may end up back in town. I know a couple of my friends who I still talk to from high school live in our hometown, and I go, you didn't think to go anywhere? And they're like, why? That's where everybody I know is. And you just get there and go, okay, like I get it, but you didn't have any aspirations. And it's not that you don't have aspirations, you do, but the idea of just being local to who you are and what you are, and how the idea of community and where you grew up at, it kind of actually resonates more as you get older than it does when you're younger. And when you see these characters, you kind of go, now that's where they are. That's how they're going to do it. And it really, you could see yourself in those characters. And I think that's the beauty about, waking up and, getting in your car and starting it and it not working or not running. And you go, damn it, I got to be at work here in 10 minutes. And what are you going to do? Call the boss and tell him you're late, and you're like, you had to be at work at 9, so you should have gotten the car at 7 if you knew it wasn't going to win, and then you could make plans. But that's all that blue collar life, and I have to agree with that. It was a good way to start the movie, and I think it was a good way to show, two people who are grown, but they're like, I don't know what we're doing, and I was like, yeah, you don't know what you're doing yet. Even if you're in your mid to late 20s, you still don't know what the hell you're doing.
Even in your mid 40s, sometimes
you still don't know. That's right.
You're thrown into situations like, oh shit,
playing it by ear every day.
Yeah.
And you figure 10-year reunion, these characters are at least late 20s. That's late 20s. At least 28, 29.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm at the part where they're getting out of the car, trying to warm their hands. Seth Rogen's a little over the top here. He's a little annoying at first, but he settles into this role.
Mm-hmm.
Some of his goofiness, I'm not a big fan of. Like when he's got the hand warmers on his balls, and I didn't find that funny, but
no, it was a little over the top. But I mean, I can see it from the perspective of being poor, not having any money. You're like, oh, I gotta warm up everything, And I saw that and I was like, yeah, it was a little cringy at this point. But at that point, you're like, oh, it's funny. Back 15 years ago.
Elizabeth Banks in that scene is good. She's great.
Yes.
She reacts to it like I think a normal person would.
Yeah. Like, what are you doing? What the hell?
Yeah. And then they're at the mall that the original Dawn of the Dead is filmed.
Yes, I was so happy.
Pretty cool.
That. Yes. The Monroeville Mall, I've been there several times in my life.
Never been. Yeah.
Cool. That is pretty neat to show that they're, because I mean, even downtown Pittsburgh from Monroeville is like 30 minutes away. So, it's pretty cool, but yeah, that was a cool scene for me too. I was like, look, crossover, you can see Dawn, since I'm a big fan. I was like, Monroeville Mall.
And you got the black guy. What's his name again?
Craig Robinson.
Yeah,
Craig Robinson.
Yeah, I really like him in this, and I'm really not a big fan of his, but he really. There you go. I like this.
Yes, going back and seeing him after watching The Office for so many years, and going back and seeing that he fit right in with those characters, without question.
Yeah, I've never watched The Office. I take that back. I watched like maybe the first 4 or 5 episodes, and it just wasn't for me.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that first season is very cringy, anyways. But it did settle into its own.
Okay. Yeah. Seth Rogen here too, and then they got that Indian. I think he's Indian, Pakistani. I don't know who he is. Good guy. He's funny too. He's not in it much.
No, he was the dude that was in the 40-Year-Old Virgin too. He was the character and that was his interaction between the other guy in that movie too. That's a great scene where he's he's like, you disrespected me. And then they patch it up like real quick, and it's funny. Like but I could see him as the coffee shop owner too, which was a great piece for that.
Yeah, I do like the when they're in the store working. I did like that. Seth Rogen he's believable here. Craig Robinson. This is his name, Craig Robinson, right? Yeah, he's believable. There's a couple of roles in here that I weren't very believable when you see him on screen. Thank you, Dave, for the awesome picks. You just
very much.
You're muted, Dave. Oh, okay.
I'm muted on purpose.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I will try to talk, but I am coughing more than talking right now. So
I'm also slightly under the weather, so I was like, mute. But for us here, it's the pollen. All the pollen just finally settled, so it's like, not good.
Oh.
There you go. I will say though, this is one of the ones though. You know, I grew up. I don't want to say grew up, but when I was in my 20s, you know, the Scrubs was on, and Elizabeth Banks towards the end of Scrubs, she was in the last couple seasons of Scrubs. Yeah, she was in that, and so this was kind of like that tail end of Scrubs where she was in this too, and you know, I kind of always saw her as like that very, at least in this point in her career, very girl next door, very relatable girl, you know, that you could kind of just be friends with. And, you know, you're like, oh, that's cool. You can go out and have a beer with, and it wouldn't, you know, wouldn't matter. You could send her off as the chum to bring other chicks back, you know, so like that kind of chick, you know, like I firmly believe that. And I can see that as her character in this film for sure.
Yeah. And then I think they're getting ready to do the granny panties. That's what they call them.
Yeah. Very good.
Yeah. One of the kids looks familiar, but I couldn't place them anywhere.
No. Yeah. I know a couple of those too. Like I saw that and I was like, I looked up and I was like, I don't know if I know those kids at all, you know, and I couldn't pinpoint that at all.
And then the cell phones they're using, the razors, this kind of made me chuckle. And then when they're recording her.
Yes.
But that was the high end tech for phones back.
Oh gosh, yeah. I mean, if you had beyond green screen Snake, you were doing okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then Seth Rogen drops his pants.
That's right.
Yeah.
Getting some ass in that video for
the Yeah.
Good.
This is another spot where the dialogue is kind of cringy.
Yeah. I would agree. Yeah, a little bit.
I think the dialogue
is kind of cringy through half of this movie. It's really
really
it's trying to be disturbing. It's really trying to make you cringe because ultimately we're making a porno. Pornos are disgusting.
You're right.
So the stuff that they're saying is basically trying to accent that.
Yeah, you're 100% right. I never thought of it that way.
Yeah. So I kind of saw it that way to where it was like they were trying to be in the porn industry. They were trying to do this stuff.
Yeah.
And a special nod over here to the right to Tracy Lords,
who Tracy Lords, yes,
is or was a porn star. You know, and I don't know if you guys are familiar with what happened because she was a porn star before she was an adult.
Yes, underage, so you can
literally
legally own.
Yeah,
it's like you cannot literally legally own any of her movies.
Yeah.
Yeah,
because she didn't do much after she turned 18. She didn't do many movies.
No, because I think when the director or somebody found her, she was like late 16 going on 17.
She was like 16, 17. Yeah. And then she knocked out like 150 movies at 17.
It was ridiculous. Yeah. And if you own any of them now, you're in
it's child pornography.
Yeah.
But she is an absolute wonderful person.
Yes.
If you meet her, she's an absolute she's a sweetheart.
Yeah, I think Kevin was talking about one time about having her around, and she said she was just a gem of a person to just have around and just work with, and it was easy. You know, it was just one of those ones you tell her what to do, and she was like, "All right, no problem."
Yeah. So she was in Stockton, staying at the hotel that I was at. She was doing some kind of movie. I can't remember what it was. Mm-hmm. And I saw her in the lobby and I'm like, oh, Tracy Lords, I'm such a fan, and shook hands with her. And this was what, 90, 92, 93. This was, so
you were a fan of Bubble.
Like just a couple years after that. And, and she was like, oh yeah. She goes, where do you know me from? And I'm like, I think you were in an episode of Walker, Texas Ranger.
Nice.
And she goes, oh, good cover. I'm like, awesome. Yeah, you know, you did like Heart to Heart. Yeah, she did like a couple of those TV series in the late 80s, early 90s. And I was like, okay, that's where I had to plug that because, you know,
And it's funny.
My wife was in the lobby.
Funny. It's funny because she was probably one of those first people that ever went mainstream after doing her, stuff. And
Yeah.
it's such a hard transition. You talk to, you see so many people, and like the 0.00001% of people can hit that transition point where they're like, I can do this, and I can, from what I did, and people won't notice it, or even if they do, they won't care, and then for her that was one of those things.
But now it's common,
Yeah,
everybody does OnlyFans.
yeah, and Dave, you're old enough to remember. I have a buddy of mine that's one of my best friends down here. He's your age. His thing was anytime I'd be out looking thrift shop and stuff, and I'd find a vinyl or something. I found a Samantha Fox vinyl one time. He was like, Samantha Fox. He's like page three girl or whatever,
Page
from
three girl, from the Sun Times or whatever that was.
And he was like, you have no idea. He was like, guys my age, which would be your age, like he's literally your age. He was like, Samantha Fox was like top of the
she
top.
Was creme of the creme, man.
Yeah, he was like so. And I was like, I can understand why. What's up, Del?
Creme de la creme.
Yeah, there he
What's up,
is.
Del?
But yeah, every time I found one, or like I found a CD or like a tape or something, he was like, he's like, can you grab that for me? I was like, like, yeah, that's fine. I can do that. And he was like, even if it's something he couldn't play, he was like, that's Samantha Fox right there. That's crazy. No, but she was hot. Don't get me wrong.
MTV videos and all that.
Yeah. But
she had that one hit. She had that one.
Yes. Oh gosh, I can't even. I know which one it is, but I can't think of the hook that was the name of it. But yeah, it's crazy to think that someone back then who could make that transition to now, we look at that and we go, nobody cares now. Like, it doesn't matter. I mean, there's 1,005 OnlyFans chicks that go do day jobs now, and so it doesn't really matter, But then it was like such a big deal, conservative right looking at that going, but people were like, let's put her in a movie. Who cares? But it was guys like, you think of back then, you think of guys like John Waters would be putting someone like that in a movie of theirs, to be like, oh, let's put them mainstream. Let's put them out there, to say that this isn't what defines you. This isn't what you did. And, you can still be a movie star and or an actor, and then that not be the thing that defines you. And I'm glad that people found that kind of station to be able to go do that.
And make money. We're here at the high school reunion where we get a great I didn't like it when I first saw this. Brent Ralph and Justin Long, and they had me laughing when they're introduced at the high school reunion.
That is true. Yeah. I am saying that Zack and Miri Make an OnlyFans because at this point, that's a viable job option at this point. That's for sure. But I'll tell you though, the thing that I liked about this now, I think I kind of would have to agree with you on that. Was that upon first viewing, I was like, it's a little rough to watch because you're like he's doing that, Justin Long, but Justin Long's character is so good. Like he's so good in this, and I was like, that's why I've always liked listening to Justin Long and his brother's podcast. I forget what it's called, but it's a great podcast. It's so good. He always had lots of people on there. Kevin Smith was on there and a couple things, but Justin Long is a very underrated actor. He's so good. Like you can watch him in so much stuff, and he's so good. He was definitely one of the guys. Now, I'm gonna have to preface this by saying Tusk is a little rough, but we'll come back to that when we gotta get to Tusk. But it's but he's good. I like Justin Long, and I think that's where their relationship, and he became part of the View Askew universe in that. But he's a good actor. I really like him in that.
I think the last thing I watched him and I really liked was Boogeyman. He was not Boogeyman,
Barbarian.
Barbarian, yeah.
Barbarian.
Yeah, he was pretty good in that. And they even because this movie was supposed to not take place in the VSQ universe. This is a separate thing.
Mhm.
But in Reboot, they make references
Yes.
to Justin Long's character
Mhm.
in there. So
What is it? Saint what? I forget what his name is.
I don't remember.
Yeah, it's James St. James or something like
Yeah,
that.
something like that.
Yeah, it's like it's really ridiculous.
His voice is so
Mhm.
funny in this.
Yeah, I think my favorite part I think is when he was like, have you done anything that I would know? And he was like, Glengarry anything like Glengarry Glen Ross, and he was like, yeah, but with all guys. And he was like, well, that's awesome. He was like, yeah, but solely guys, you know. And he's like, oh, okay, well, you know, it makes sense. I just love that how he just throws that out there.
This is where I think the dialogue works. The dialogue really works in this whole scene at the reunion. I think it all works here. Even when they're showing Jen Swalbach, because his wife is in this. It's from there up until they leave the reunion. I think the dialogue is very dialogue heavy. You get a lot of what's that word called? Expedition. You get a lot of story. Yeah, you get a lot of storytelling here.
Yes. Yeah, it's definitely good. I like that too because they just kind of go in there and she's like, "Oh, I hope I see so and so," and then she finally sees him, and then of course the twist is that he's gay, and you're just like, "That's pretty funny."
That's Seth Rogen trying to get a hand job. He's like, "Fuck yeah!"
Yes.
It just made me laugh.
Yes. You know,
Brandon Routh.
I was one of those people that
were given hand jobs or trying to get a hand job. Which one?
Well, you know, I mean, a little bit of that, but you know, was that I was one of those guys that literally wanted to go to my 10-year reunion. I wanted to go to my 20-year reunion. I didn't get a chance to go to either one. I was so close on both. I could have, if I would have really planned it right, I could have gone to both. And I really wanted to go to both, but it didn't work out. I know the next one I'd really like to get a chance to, but it was one of those ones I was like, man, I didn't have any at the time. My 10, I was like, it was an 08. I was like, I didn't have any kids yet. I was like, I could just go back and have a good time, talk to people, it'd be fun. And I was like, the 18 one, which was, you know, that was a couple years ago, you know, I was like, I wanted to go to that one too, but I was like, just didn't work out. You know, I was like, I wanted to get to that one too. And nope, couldn't make that one either. I was like, but hopefully maybe the 30. Yeah. 28,
I did my 10-year one. That was it. Because you're still kind of the same person at your 10. And the same cliques were there. And not a whole lot of people had kids, but everybody for the most part still looked the same. And, I always like to see the people that thought they were better than everybody else kind of caught up with them.
Yeah, time is a cruel thing, cruel partner. You know, you sit there and you know you think about that. That's why I said too. I was like, man, I wanted to go back to my 20th of all things. I wanted to go back to my 20th. I was like better shape than I'd ever been. You know, I had a beard down to here. I was like, I'm gonna rock this shit. And I was like, nah, couldn't even get to that one. I was like, it felt so bad. And then apparently my class did a 25th. They actually did it. They didn't do a 20th, but they did a 10 and a 25th, which would have been 23. You know, and I was like, oh, that was cool. I really wish I could have gone to that. But yeah.
Did you go to your reunions, Dave?
Yes. I went to 10 and 30.
10 and 30. Very cool.
Yeah. I might make a 30th if we have one.
Yeah, if we have a 30, I'm going to try to go to 30 as well. Because 30 for us will be 28. 28 would be cool if I can get it to that one.
26. Yeah, wait, yeah. Graduated 96. Yeah, it'd be 26, right? Yeah. 30 years.
98 for me.
So look, I can do math, David. I did quick math right there.
Well, that was pretty good, bro. That was pretty good. I'm impressed. But yeah, I went to my 30th and it was basically, okay, who's still alive? And
isn't that you get to that point?
it was basically, yeah, who's still alive, and everybody was like, oh wow, I didn't know you were still alive. So, yeah. Well, in my 10-year reunion, no one recognized me.
Wow.
Which was really funny because I didn't get my growth spurt until I was 22.
Whoa.
So, well, I graduated high school. I was 5 foot tall. I weighed 103 pounds.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
Damn.
So, and I had an afro like that.
Carrots up.
But, oh yeah, no, it was bright or no, it was more brown, but it had the red highlights and stuff. But it wasn't quite carrot top like my granddaughter. But when I was her age, I had that hair. But I went there, got my name tag, and they were like, "No, you're not David Lowe because David Lowe was like this tall."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "No, I'm this tall now." And I was training to be a pro wrestler, so I was getting the size. Because I had started working because this was 9, because I graduated in 88, so this was 98, and I had just started working for UPW. So I was training and doing their public, doing their stuff, and I had just done a year with AWA. Back in 93, I did a year with them. Awesome. So yeah, so I was, I mean, I went from 5'2" to 5'7" in 1993. So that was my growth spurt. But yeah, so they didn't, they had no idea who I was until I, was talking to them and announced myself and had my class picture on my chest. I didn't look at all like my high school picture.
Wow. That's cool.
I know me personally from 11th to 12th grade. From the summer between, I went from, I think it was like 5'9" or 5'10", and I hit 6'2". That's what I am now, 6'2". And so I remember going back to school, and the kids were like, "Well, what the hell?" I was like, "Yeah." I was like, it was crazy because I was like, it was one of those things. And I told my son that. I said, I have two boys. 8 and a soon to be 3-year-old, and I tell them all the time. I said, if you're like daddy, I was like, you're gonna hurt some summers because you're growing so much. I was like, you're literally gonna hurt. You're gonna feel. So that's how I felt between my junior and senior. There'd be times I'd be just sleeping in bed, and I'm like, oh my God, it hurts so much. And I was like literally growing, But I was like, it's one of those things. Like, you grow 4 to 5 inches in a summer. That's a lot.
Yeah.
Like, you go from 5'10" to 6'2". You're like, oh crap, you don't even think about it, but till it happens, you're like, that's crazy. Did your house haunted there, Rich? Or
no, it's the cats. They're fighting.
It's cats are just absolute fuckers. His cats are just.
And my pussies are fighting.
I mean, you gotta get that pussy under control, Rich.
Yeah, right.
No, but okay, go. Yeah.
No, the movie was they're trying to figure out what to do. They lost the power. They lost everything. Seth's trying to talk her into, or Zach is trying to talk her into. Let's make a porno. I mean, the title of the movie is right.
Yeah.
This is where they're at the bar.
And it's funny because you really think about it. Okay, if this was filmed supposedly in 08, 09, internet's still very, very much alive, I had my growth spurt through high school. Yeah, there 5'3.5", 5'4". I mean, Del, look, Del, we get it. I understand. You don't have to brag, Del. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, my high school was, I was 4'9", and then graduated high school at 5 foot. So
you guys just quit bragging. That's all I'm saying.
Dude. But, and you're like 5'10" to 6'2", and in my junior year, I'm like, bro,
right?
It's that Western European heritage. I'll take the height, but you guys can have the high blood pressure, heart disease. You guys can take that.
I got high blood pressure. Yeah, I got all that covered. Diabetes. I got all that.
Yeah, but it's crazy because you see them and they're like, I remember too. Don't get me wrong, like I was living with my best friend who was my roommate at the time. 3 or 4 years after we graduated, so we're just, you know, hanging out, watch movies all the time, and we're sitting there sometimes going like, dude, did we pay this bill or this bill? And he's like, I don't know. We gotta figure it out. And then you figured out whether or not, if the power goes down, like, oh, apparently we did pay that one, you know, because yeah, and it's a real thing. Like, I mean, I know they make fun of it on there, but it was a real thing because
Yeah.
me and my buddy, we're both like, I don't know, 21, 20. I was 22, I believe he was 21. And it's like you sit there and go, man, did we pay that, or are we still, do we need to pay that? And you're just like, I think we did. I'm not sure. You know, in between beers and getting high or whatever, you're like, I don't know if we did that. You know, but it's funny because that's kind of a real scenario that he writes.
It is
for sure.
Yeah. And then again here, dialogue works the most when it's just Seth or Zack and Miri talk and bantering back and forth. Yeah,
it's a very unique, and I think he wrote this specifically when he needed to too, because he kind of like, this wouldn't have worked for him. I really don't think any other time. You know, I think he wrote this, again, another one of those ones where he specifically wrote it when he was supposed to. Because if it would have been later, earlier, just wouldn't have worked. You know, it was kind of like that midpoint in his career where he was at, and he kind of just threw it out there and was like, whether it makes anything or it doesn't, this was on my mind. This was a story I had in my mind. You know, let's put it on paper. Let's put it to celluloid. Let's do this. You know, and then he got it out. And I think that it definitely worked when it was supposed to.
Yeah, and he's trying to talk Craig Robinson to. He's out because we're movie people. He's trying to go buy a big screen TV. He's ready to buy a big screen TV, and he's trying to talk Craig Robinson into financing the porno movie, which I thought was.
Yes. Yeah. Lots of dudes working at a coffee shop. How much money can you save working up in a coffee shop? Oh no, you know, that's for sure. But using the coffee shop as the setting, pretty as the locale, if you will, pretty good. I dug that.
And because they go rent somewhere, and it ends up getting destroyed because they get conned out of money.
Yes.
And lose all their costumes for the Star Wars.
The Star Wars. I was
Star
like,
Wars.
That's so Kevin Smith too, to do a Star Wars porno. I mean, come on, that was if he was ever going to do one, that's what he was going to do. You know, I mean, that's 100% the case.
Yeah, and just another Dawn of the Dead, the Monroe Zombies. Little reference there.
Yes. You could, and it's pretty neat to see how much you know, one director might influence another, or even on that the kind of minimal scale of filming it in the town where something else was filmed, but just doing that nod to someone else and nod to that fan base is a pretty dope thing to do.
Yeah, and then we get the most recognizable voice in the VOSQ universe. You get Randall.
Yes.
Yeah, we get Randall, which I think he works here. I mean, his character works, but it's still hard to separate him.
It is, and I was gonna say that too. I was like, oh my gosh, it's an AV Randall. You know, it's the audio guy that's you know, it's just it's his character, but it's not him. Yeah. But it is him. It's very hard to separate Randall from.
Even the way he delivers the lines is great. His tone, or not, I don't know the right words to say because I don't know how to say them. It's like when they leave his mouth, it's the same.
It's his cadence. His cadence, his cadence is very Randall-esque. But that's his. But I think that's just probably him in real life, you know.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, you think
that's probably
he doesn't act. He just is just himself.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I think, and I always think that him as a character, and I forget his name. What's his name in real life?
Oh shit, I know it. My mind just went blank. It's I was gonna say Randall Graves. That's not it.
No, I know, but yeah.
Oh man.
But what Randall in real life, I always hate to say it, but his character in real life, but he seemed like the kind of guy that would just talk like that, very matter of factly, but you throwing in little tidbits, little stories, little this, that, and the other. That's how he would speak in real life, and I think that's a pretty even if he's cast as that multiple times, it just works. You know what I mean?
There you go.
But to see middle-aged Randall is pretty
It's his name is Jeff Anderson.
Jeff Anderson. That's right. Jeff
Why
Anderson.
did I cannot think? Thank you.
I know.
Thank you.
Because it's such an all-American name, you can kind of forget. It's always.
But he's Randall. He's just gonna be.
Yeah. But it's very. But you could see him just even as a middle-aged guy, just having those same conversations that he even did when he was, Randall in Clerks 2, which is still, I think, his best performance yet. But
he's amazing in Clerks 2.
Yes. Yeah.
And then we get
and there's 2008 bangs. There's 2008 bangs right there. That is a haircut for the time,
And then we get Jason Mewes in here, a young Jason Mewes still.
Yeah,
he's pretty funny in this. Yeah, he's not as annoying as Jay is.
No.
We see a lot of Jay in this. Jason Mewes in here. I didn't need to see.
Yes,
definitely a lot that you don't need to see.
Lot of Jay you don't need to see. That is correct.
A lot of Jay happening.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Yeah.
And I like Craig Robinson when he's telling the strip, or he's casting him. He wants to see your body, your stuff. Like the way he delivers is "I'm married,"
Yeah, he's like
this tone.
He's like, this is the greatest job of all time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like that.
Pretty funny. I dig that look at real life too. If that ever happened to you, and you're sitting there like a bunch of early 20-somethings just dropping their tops for you, you're like, we'll call you. Like I could just see that being the case.
Yeah.
So if we want you, we'll call. But it's again, I think it definitely a title for when it was supposed to be there, for sure, without question. Making this today, even making it today, it would fit in, but it would still be more cringy than it was then, even.
Then we get Bubbles, which is funny.
Bubbles, indeed.
Yeah.
That's a talent to end all talents.
The Craig Robinson's look on his face. The only time he has a real big cheesy smile.
Yes. That's very good. I dig.
Okay, so we're almost at the halfway point, or maybe a little past halfway. So at this point in time in the film, what are you guys thinking? Do you want to stop the movie? Do you want to continue watching it? Where are you at? What's your mindset? As this is the first time watching the movie.
I mean, I gotta be honest. I was very intrigued. I mean, the fact that I knew it was Kevin Smith, even if it was a little be off kilter at the time, I was like, well, I want to see where this goes. I want to see where this goes. It's the dialogue that really drives home so many of his films. Even then, when I was watching it.
What's up, Steve?
What's up, Steve?
How you doing?
Yeah, it was very, very much the dialogue that would drive me to go, okay, this is going to obviously have something to do with where it's heading, so I want to continue watching. So that's always the wildlife. That's right. That's definitely always my, my take on Kevin Smith movies, regardless of where I'm at. Is even if it's the halfway point, I'm like, something's going to happen.
Yeah. What about you, Dave? We're halfway through the movie, when you're watching this for the first time, what are your thoughts?
Well, like I said, at the time, I didn't know it was a Kevin Smith movie. So, I was like, I don't like Seth Rogen, but I'm dealing with it. I like Elizabeth Banks, so I like where this is going. She has no business being attracted to him at all, but I'm gonna let that slide. Four Color Universe.
But okay, well, you finish what you're saying. I'll go back to that.
Finish what I was saying. But this is where I'm like, I want Elizabeth Banks to myself, not to Seth Rogen. I mean, right? So you're like, I'm going, look, when this happens,
that's a great scene.
Like, I want to see where this movie goes.
Right.
You know what? I'm going to go ahead and finish it out of the goodness of my heart. I'm going to see how this accelerates.
Twist an arm, right? Keep twisting.
Right.
Keep twisting.
Oh, ow. Okay.
Right.
And this is going to be dependent on what kind of shower I have to take after the movie's over.
That's true. For me, it was like I wanted to turn it off because it wasn't the Kevin Smith movie I wanted. Because his dialogue wasn't witty like it was in Chasing Amy, Clerks 2. So I had a lot of issues, and being Kevin Smith zombie.
Yeah. What's up, Cal?
What's up, Cal? How you doing? This was hard for me to finish. It really was, and no pun intended.
It was hard. I mean,
I think the cool thing about Elizabeth Banks is, and I think the reason why I think he also cast her in this is a very like I said, from the beginning, very girl next door, very relatable. Like you could be friends with her at a bar. You could be friends with her right outside of work, or if that's your work buddy, you could be, or your work wife, if you will. Everybody's got one of those. Just somebody you could hang out with outside of work, and not even beyond platonic. Be like, it is what it is. She's been my friend forever. It's just a sister. I don't care anymore. But that's I could see that in her character. Now Rosario, I think if she would have been cast in that, I think it would have actually been a little bit harder to see her as that, because you'd been like, he would have had to really almost like, I don't want to say bring her down a few pegs, but he might have had to, you know what I mean? Like, if we really, like, almost, she was so up there in Clerks 2 that if he would have really put her in that role, it would have been very weird to see her almost down further than what she needed to be in, like, terms of looks and makeup and all that stuff. You'd be like, damn, that's crazy.
To go, I'm gonna piggyback what Dave said about Elizabeth Banks. No busy. How'd you put it?
No business being attracted to Seth Rogen.
But see, I think that was like you said. He casted her, and it was she became attracted to him. His personality.
That's every Seth Rogen leading ladies like.
Yes.
See, I don't watch his movies, so I think the last one I seen. I mean, that was he the same type of character in 40-Year-Old Virgin?
What's that movie, Hunter?
But I think that's what works for me.
40-Year-Old Virgin, Knocked Up. I think those two were close.
I mean, Elizabeth. Katherine Heigl. She kind of looks like Elizabeth Banks to a point. I mean, 100%. But
only with the personality of Wet Pasta. But
But see, I think that's what I like. His she's definitely out of his league. Okay, like we all commit that, but it's the friendship, that's the connection they make through the struggle of paying their rent, paying the bills. I think that's why me the attraction works.
Oh yeah. Again, very, very accessible to the point where you're like, oh, she could be my friend. And that's why I dig that. I dig that kind of
and I think that's what works with Kevin. This type of Kevin Smith movies, writes them where you can relate. to the love. It doesn't seem like crazy out there kind of love. It seems like friendship turned into love.
Yeah, I mean, and that I think that actually harkens back to Clerks too, where you have a, if your boss or your coworker or someone you're around every day, and you're like, oh shit, I didn't even notice how like cute or hot you were until you have some conversations with them and this, that, and the other, and you're like, you see them every day because regardless of the situation, if you're someplace 40 hours a week, you're gonna be around that person a lot.
Yeah. And you got to watch the boundaries,
Mm-hmm.
And then,
but you can see from them, even from the very beginning, when they make little innuendo between each other, you're like you can see it, like that it was always meant to be there, but like they're like, oh, gross, I like, that's what you say, gross, when it's not supposed to be gross, when you actually mean that for the other person too. You're like, oh, gross, and then you look off to the side, you're like, did they look too?
Yeah. And it's weird seeing right here watching Jay fuck. It's weird. It's just so weird watching with I think her name's Katie Morgan. Yeah, and then they're filming because they're filming the first. Yeah.
It's weird just to see that he's holding the Charlize Theron, Michelle Williams as leading. He's all yeah.
You're absolutely right. Yeah, this is the blonde.
Is there any difference other than the title with the censored title version?
No,
there is
the title.
Literally just it's just the title.
It's all about marketing.
Yep.
Like what they wanted to play, because they wouldn't play any of the trailers until after 9 o'clock on TV.
Yep.
It confused the marketplace. I know he made a joke that his mom would go see Zack and Miri because it's like a romantic comedy. And then when she would never go see Zack and Miri Make a Porno.
Yes.
So I can see why people would get confused.
Mm-hmm.
Like an average, hey, let's go see Zack and Miri. It could be something, and then when you get to the movie theater, oh no, this is not.
Yeah, well, it's like that's the type of film though. At the time, I could imagine myself looking back on whether or not I had basic cable or not, and you watch TV and you look for trailers for things to come on, and you're like, oh, I want to go see that. I don't ever remember a Zack and Miri trailer. Like I don't even ever seen one.
I only knew about it from listening to him talk.
Mm-hmm.
His Smodcast and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the only way I knew about it.
I think the only reason I ever saw it because that was the tail end of when a couple of my buddies were still, I didn't work there anymore, but a couple of my buddies were still working at the Blockbusters that still existed. And they were like, oh, did you see Kevin Smith's new movie? And I was like, no. And I was like, oh, I got to rent that. I was like, when he said about it, I was like, okay, I got to rent that.
Yeah. And then we get the pegging scene, which is kind of fun. And the look on the dude's face after is that he can see he's in pain.
Yes.
It made me chuckle.
I got you covered.
There you go. Yeah. That's pretty funny.
I could see Tracy doing that to somebody out there. You mean everyone does like porn? I mean, I think it's a lie to say if you don't, whether it's print or visual. I think we're all
it's kind of like not admitting that you're a fan of Michael Bolton. So
right,
yeah,
it's one of those things where you can't say, "Oh no, porn's awful." I can't, but you got a stack in your house. You got some,
or you got that go-to link. You got that. Yeah, you got that. You got that thing on your phone. But yeah,
very, very weird scene right there.
Yeah. And then his look afterward, as they're like, "Good job shooting the scene," is I can tell he's clenching and
pretty rough. Yeah, I was like, they're trying to pull out all the kinks for that,
They do. And then you see Seth watching her sleep, and he covers her up. You really they start to play up the love.
Yeah, they play up the attraction.
I mean, who doesn't want to screw their best friend on a pile of beans for the first You know?
Yeah. And then it's ridiculous what they do, the lines, and he says something to her. She goes, "Whoa, that's offensive."
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah, it's pretty. You're like, oh, you guys on a pile of roasted coffee beans. All right.
His face looks weird shaved.
Yeah,
I don't know.
it was definitely not the best Seth Rogen moments that I've ever remembered. Like, oh, you shaved, and I was like, oh, he looks so terrible.
He does. I don't want you to get road rash or
I
something
was,
like that.
oh, yeah, so terrible.
Hang on, I got that too.
He looked, yeah.
They
So
can post some
bad.
good clips, right?
Oh,
Yeah. Not his best look.
well,
No,
I do
I
want
was
to.
thinking like, I was gonna say, you just had sex with Elizabeth Banks.
Now let's look at that. Now, I could be wrong here, but I think that was also a nod.
There was no such thing as too much.
That's right. Is his jumper there a nod to Christian? I'm sorry. Is his Seth Rogen's jumper in that scene? Is that a nod to Quentin Tarantino because his name is Buck and he likes to,
Yeah.
I was
It
like,
could be.
yeah, because didn't this come out after Kill Bill?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
No, he's like, my name is Buck, and I like to, and I saw that once. I was like, I wonder if that's a nod to Quentin.
I can see it because him and Quentin are friends.
Yeah.
Kill Bill Volume 1 was 2003, so it was like 5 years
so
before.
Clearly, so he could have done that easily, But his name is Buck. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And he looks like, well, and what's funny is he looks like the Buck character sort of kind of from the Kill Bill, because that was and what's weird is that Buck character in Kill Bill was one of Adam Sandler's buddies.
Oh, really?
Yeah, when he was in that. He was the guy in I believe he was in a couple Adam Sandler movies. Pretty sure he was.
Yeah, it's been forever since I've seen Kill Bill.
Kill Bill is a great film.
It is. Here we go with the awkward banter. Touch it, sucking his yeah, that's gross. Sucking Seth Rogen's fingers. You don't know where they've been.
Yeah, no.
No, I'm pretty sure I know where they've been, and no, that's not
right. And
then probably near Jonah Hill's sack, but that's just me.
Oh, this is the end. But yeah, no, that's
they're supposed to have this wild sex scene. And they're supposed to have this wild sex scene, and they just end up making love, and they're like, "Whoa, what was that?" And
yeah, kind of creepy, like almost creepy. Like you're like, what? That makes it even worse.
And they're all looking like, "What the hell?"
Like not even filmable. You're just like, this is boring.
Yeah.
Oh, but then the Tracy Lords character was like, it was so sweet.
Yeah.
She was like, I could tell you really liked it. And she was like, what? Like, they're ridiculous.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to speed this up here.
It's not bad.
Yeah, the scene's long. They go too long.
It actually was quite long. I remember like kind of rewatching it recently when we did. I was like, oh my God, get on with it.
Yeah. It was a very long scene.
Yeah.
Yeah, then the awkwardness comes.
And I think the amount of dialogue that he built into that scene was equivalent to how awkward he wanted it to be. If you really think about it, like that's how awkward it would be.
Yeah, you're right.
You that kind of happens. So I think that's a really cool part of a writer / director when they can write the awkwardness into what it would be in real life if that was the case. And I think it was very well played out there. It was long, drawn out, like every second turns feels like 10 minutes,
Yeah, it really does feel like 15 minutes.
Yeah. it's a very, I think it was very, very well written for that scene.
Yeah. Let's see, where are we at here? Still more
Very
talking. Yeah, and then we want to get to the they buy them they get their electricity back.
Yes,
which was funny. The tired of them taking showers and stuff at their place.
that's right. Oh, and the Jeff Anderson from underneath view.
Yeah, we're just about.
I was like, when she says, she's like, but I've been backed up for a few days, so it's okay. And you're like, oh my god,
yeah.
horrifying.
Anal is the best thing for constipation.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Wait, what?
Oh my god.
Yeah, I didn't
Okay.
when I watched it.
That.
Yeah.
Oh.
What was your reaction, Dave, when you saw this for the first time?
I laughed for 10 minutes when I did just laugh, just belly laugh, crying on the floor because it was just like and then
It's almost to me like a Monty Python moment, if you will.
Yeah.
Oh my god. And then the discussion after that.
Yeah.
They're outside. Yeah.
But yeah, they're outside. Like, do you believe that shit? He goes, do you believe that shit?
That's right.
She frosted me like a cake.
You frosted me like a cake.
That's right.
That's my favorite line of the whole movie.
I agree with that. Yeah. But see, what I liked was before that, you had their arguing, like,
yeah,
and the feelings, the awkwardness. And then,
because shit was going wrong. And then, yeah, nothing like a poo to just end an argument.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why I think that scene works a lot. It's because
it's between. Think about it. It's between two B characters too. So I think it's a little funnier because it's not the two main. So you don't even have to think about it past beyond when it actually happened too.
Yeah. I think that is the iconic scene of the movie. It's the boo scene.
Yes.
Then it jumps to 3 months later.
Because they had to clean it. That took a little while to get that cleaned and fumigated and disinfected.
You would think.
I think Jeff Anderson's character was way too calm.
Mm.
Would have been.
Yeah, most people would have ran out there and punched somebody. Yeah. It's funny how he actually got a chance to film some of these characters in positions that they might not have been, or because of the film that they were making, they have them in these positions. It's just too funny.
Yeah. And then you see Seth Rogen dressed as what is that? What was he dressed as?
Not the penguin, but he
called it something at the carnival. And it's 3 months later.
Yep.
He's trying to get them back together.
Mm.
And then he thinks that they slept. I don't want to get there quite yet.
She said, wow, that she sleeps with Jay, or Jay's character. You know what I mean?
Yeah. He's surprised that they didn't finish the movie.
Mm.
And then this is the too much Jay part.
Yes.
And it's funny that the movie begins with Miri on the toilet, but they don't show it.
No.
It basically ends with her on the toilet. But then they show it. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a very, I like how it becomes this self-fulfilling prophecy of the dirty humor, but it's like very on the nose dirty humor, not in innuendo dirty humor. It's like right on the nose.
Yeah. And then the Dutch rudder. He goes, it's not gay. We're not touching each other. I mean,
not gay. We're not touching. I'm touching yours. You're touching mine. That's all right. You're just moving my arm. That's all you're doing. You're just moving my arm.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I always loved to earlier in the film. I forgot to mention this was when the Justin Long scene was like, oh my God, that was Superman. And then Brandon Roush was like, oh my God, that's Superman. And like, Superman's totally gay in this film. Like like there's that guy, the valedictorian dude, and he's like, yeah, totally gay. Like, you know, but it's crazy to think that he was Superman. And you're like, oh my god,
he was a good Superman too. I thought
he was. Yeah, he was not bad.
I like the little stalker Superman.
Yeah.
So he gets the girl. We all know how this ends. It's getting late. About an hour and 20. We know how this movie ends. He gets Miri. They go off into the bedroom and credits. But what I didn't know, and I've owned this movie, it's been sitting on my shelf for a long time, but there was an end credit scene. I did not know that.
Yeah.
I had no clue. I was like, how did I miss this after all this fucking time?
Yep, they make the company, Zack and Miri's company.
Yeah, I was like, that was pretty fucking funny.
I
like that
intimate videos for couples. You know, they film them. You know, pretty good idea. Pretty you know, self-fulfilling there too. They're like, well, we can do it. You know, we get other people to do it. They'll pay us. You know, not bad.
Yeah. So I mean, typical. I think he wanted this to be like a Judd Apatow movie, and it kind of is like, but really, Kevin Smith was Judd Apatow before Judd Apatow. He just didn't get the mainstream success.
Yeah.
So yeah. So you're okay. The movie's over.
Yeah.
So on a scale of 1 to 5 stars, David, what would you give Zack and Miri?
Oh, 3.5 stars.
3.5?
Yeah.
David,
what about you?
Yeah, I was literally 100% about to say 3.5. Like that was literally what I was about to say. I was like, on a good day, if I'm feeling generous, maybe a 3.25, 4, but 3.5, right down the, you know, right down the old plate. If you think about it, right where it was supposed to be.
Right in the poop chute.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Take the.
If you're constipated, then remember anal's good for that. Take that advice and run with it, or get the runs, whatever you want.
That's right. But when I was a little kid, every time I'd play pinball, I always loved pinball, and when the ball would get right down the middle, Dad would go. My dad would be watching me. He's like,
down the poop chute.
Right down the poop chute. Yeah.
That's funny.
That's out here. Say. You know,
that's where the flippers don't get it. You're like, damn it!
Yeah, like literally, because it's got that much room and it goes right down.
Yeah, that was the worst. That's the worst feeling.
But
you're like, oh man,
it's like I said, it's a very unique film for when it came out, when it was supposed to come out.
Yeah,
because it was this idea of like I said, you know, very blue collar comedy. Without it, it's intellectual blue collar, well written into the, you know, just that dichotomy of like, you're trying to do right, but you need to do what you need to do to get by, and like that was that. It was just a very well written blue collar film. You know, to me, that's how I kind of I've seen it.
For me, I originally gave this a 2.5 star on my Letterboxd, but rewatching it yesterday, I think I rewatched it. I connected with the love story. I like love.
Me too.
So I think everybody does.
You know, it's all right. Love's good.
Yeah,
it all depends on who you have.
That's right. Yeah.
But I think that's what worked for me this time was the connection to the love story for me, and I bumped it up to 3 stars.
Yeah.
So I enjoyed it a lot more than I did previous viewings.
It's. I think it was Kevin Smith, dialed back, more like Kevin Smith. Like, I'm gonna write this from a.
I think this was his attempt to mainstream.
Yeah, it was. Like, I'm gonna write this as a 15-year-old kid, but I'm gonna write it as like this idea of just being able to hit box offices and do all the things I've wanted to, or things I want to say, but this would be the way to get it across.
I think he thought this was going to be a big hit. Seth Rogen, probably a $40 million opening weekend, probably what he was hoping for instead of worldwide gross. This movie led to his weed obsession, because Seth Rogen, famously known for being a big pothead. This is what because Kevin Smith didn't partake in weed even though his character Jay and Silent Bob were drug dealers, he really wasn't into it until this end of this movie. And then especially if you've seen one of his evenings with, you get the full story on how he went down the weed rabbit hole. So yeah, that's Zack and Miri. So David, you're the tech guy. I think could you look it up? I think Cop Out is next.
Cop Out, that's right.
Because I think he's depressed with this. They Universal throws him a bone to direct a movie he didn't write. I think it's Cop Out. I could be wrong. With Bruce Willis and Tracy Morgan.
That's right. So so Kevin Smith had something to do with Cop Out. I didn't know that.
Yeah, he directed it.
Wow.
There's scenes in that movie that you could just listen to it and it's Kevin Smith direction in the
100%.
Is that a nod for?
Yeah, I think Cop Out's the one.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Cop Out was about 2009, wasn't it?
Something like that.
Yeah.
2010. It's 2010.
Yeah.
Yep. And then we're coming up on, beyond that.
You got Tuck. Then you got Red State.
Red State's in there.
Yoga Hosers after that.
Yep. It's true. We got about, 4 or 5, maybe 6 more.
Yeah. And then we're going to be, I don't know if we've talked about it on air. We're going to be jumping into Edgar Wright, correct?
Yes, I believe so. Yes, because that way we can do the Sean, we can do Hot Fuzz, we can do At World's End, then we can even jump into Paul and even
I want to do all his movies. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, I think I've watched Sean so many times I know the dialogue to it.
I like Sean.
Literally, yeah, Sean is just so good. Yeah. I just love the there's just, I mean, how's that for a slice of fried gold? I mean, that's one of the best lines for that entire movie, So good. And Hot Fuzz has got all of the good moments too. You ain't not seen Bad Boys too,
I've only seen Hot Fuzz once.
Yes, that's so good. Everybody and their mums packing around here too. Everybody. Who else? And their mums?
That's it, man, guy. Well, David, you going to join us for Cop Out?
Yeah, I'll join you for Cop Out.
Okay, awesome.
Cool.
You've seen Cop Out, right, Adam?
I haven't. That'll be a first watch.
Oh, wow. It'd be interesting to hear your take on that.
Now, does he direct it or does he produce it?
He directs it. He directs it.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah. It's Tracy Morgan, Bruce Willis.
It's weird to see Bruce Willis in a Kevin Smith movie like that.
And have you seen Too Fat for 40?
No,
it's one of his last stand-up specials he did.
Yeah.
That made to Blu-ray. And I think it might be even out of print. I don't know. He talks about how him and Bruce Willis don't like each other, and they did not.
Really?
Yeah,
that's funny.
It's a pretty good. So if you could look it up and find Too Fat for 40, you should pick that up.
Too Fat for 40, yeah.
It takes place shortly after he gets thrown off the plane for being fat.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Terrible. I didn't even know that.
You didn't know he got thrown off a plane? It was a big deal. Like, he was on Southwest Airlines. They kicked him off a plane and for being fat, and he fucking blew up Twitter. And then, yeah, it was a big deal.
Yeah.
But so Cop Out is next.
Yeah.
Hopefully hit that in there won't be a large gap like it was last time between episodes.
No, try not to.
And we I guess I should announce it at the beginning. This you can find from now on. We're not even supposed to watch this today. We'll be on the Faces for Radio YouTube channel too. So
appreciate that.
Dave, could you tell them where to find all our content?
Oh yeah. So all the past content is still on Turner Fan 77 channel, but from here on out, all the stuff, the comic talk, we're not even supposed to watch this today, and all the stuff for Faces for Radio podcast is going to be on the Faces for Radio channel. That's at Faces, the number 4 Radio on YouTube. You can also find us on it's all going to go on Spotify too. We're gonna put our stuff there. All that stuff is all going to be connected now, so you can find us on there right now. Just on the 2 YouTube channels, we'll work on moving forward and actually getting that over to the Facebook page as well for the 4K lowdown, and then possibly even Instagram.
Yeah,
as we could actually go live on Instagram now through StreamYard. So I make the Faces for Radio Instagram account a business account, and then we can go live there.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
So that'll be fun. That'll be later this year. We'll set that up.
Yeah. Remember, hit the like, subscribe on all 3 channel Instagram pages, YouTube channels. Because Adam has a great. Adam, tell us about your Facebook or your Instagram page.
Yeah, just a bearded 4-eyes man. I'm a big DVD collector, Blu-ray collector. I collect rare and out of print, movies and titles. Anybody who has any affinity towards snap cases and older stuff from the early 2000s. That's me. That's my bag. If you ever want to discuss any of that stuff, please hit me up. I'm always picking up older pieces and just trying to add the old stuff to my collection that I didn't get to grab way back in the day.
Why don't you give them a sneak peek of what you just picked up?
Oh yeah.
That's pretty fucking cool.
This was one for anybody that enjoyed their pieces back in the day or never got a chance to grab them. I'm a big fan of Anchor Bay stuff from way back in the 2000s. Anchor Bay was a big thing for me way back then, and I got the it's called the 6-pack. There was the 6-pack, came with the handle and everything. It was a 6-pack of
that's pretty cool
movies. There's 6 in there. They're all still sealed, never opened. It was called the Fright Pack from Anchor Bay, and they did three of these, and I'm looking forward to grabbing all 3 of them. But
what movies are in that?
Oh, we got City of the Living Dead, Nightmare City, House by the Cemetery, Dead Heat, Let Sleeping Corpses Lie, and Hell of the Living Dead. So it was a nice little 6-pack there, So, but I got another one coming here pretty soon, and hopefully be able to show them on the next one. But yeah, I love the old school stuff.
You do.
That's my favorite thing. Anytime anybody brings up old school stuff, I'm like, what do you want to talk about? Like we can, That's
Sweet.
it.
You did
Right,
have that.
Dude, look at me and Dave.
Mine's just the blue. Mine's sitting over there. I'm too lazy to go pick it up. That's cool that you guys have the same one.
I had to pull that out. I'm like, Adam's going to get that thing. I'll go get my Zack and Miri. And
Dave and I are the old guys. That's what
we're the old guys.
Stuff. That's right. We do like the old stuff. Even though the Rich is older than me, I'm the youngest here, but by far feel like I'm the old guy.
But the older soul, the older soul for sure. I swear, because Harrison is like 26, and he's older than all of us.
Yeah,
he's an old bastard, dude.
He is.
It's the stuff that he loves is amazing, and his niche is really cool. But there's no way I can bring myself. I'm old enough to be his dad. I'm older than his dad. I just found out his dad just celebrated his birthday. I'm older than his dad, and I can't like those movies. I just can't.
No, his high fives were rough.
It was a rough. It was great having the experience, but we were talking about having Harrison back, and I'm like, as long as we force him into a theme, like we're gonna get him on for Hitchcock, I think.
Yeah.
If we can force him into just picking Hitchcock movies, I think we'll be okay.
It was
But-
it was that rough.
It was rough, man. He's like, I'm going to give you one from every decade starting the 20s. So
Yeah.
it was like, holy crap, dude. And he almost made me watch Sound of Music, and I was like,
Yeah,
oh, please don't
because
make
it left
Sound of Music.
HBO. That's what it was. We got out
Yeah,
of it.
it dropped. Yeah, it dropped off of HBO. We're like, oh, thank goodness. And he's like, okay, we'll do we'll do this other one instead. And I was like, okay, phew. But man, it was rough. Gone with the Wind was rough.
Yeah. Oh, I'll never watch it.
That reminds me of the time I did the DVD battle a long time ago, and they said put your oldest DVD up on screen, and I was doing it was the battle that I won, and excuse me, Mr. Nichols put something up from like 1940, and I was like, that's pretty old, and I put something up from the 1890s. And they still grabbed the one from the 1940s. I was like, it was the oldest one. I was like, I have the earliest movies that were ever filmed ever. Like, and people were like, we're still gonna. I was like, yeah, I think I won that one still in my head because I like I have the Lumiere Brothers DVD. I was like, the Lumiere Brothers were the first dudes to ever put anything on film ever. I was like, I have those, But I was like, that just shows you how old I am because I have like the oldest ones that ever existed ever, So
let's leave your battles.
But Rich, tell everybody where you're at, what you're doing.
Oh, everybody knows me. I'm Twitter fan 77 at Instagram, YouTube, and I'm one half of the Faces for Radio. And your turn, Dave.
I'm the other half of the Faces for Radio. So, also known as the 4K Lowdown. And just so you know, guys, I did reestablish my channel. The 4K Lowdown is back, but we rebranded the original 4K Lowdown to the Faces for Radio. But you can now find the 4K Lowdown at 4K Lowdown, LOWEDOWN. And also, you can find me on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter and Letterboxd and TikTok, all that crap. So I'm all over the damn place. But remember, we have By the Numbers coming up Wednesday. That's our live show where we're gonna look at some movies like Bosco and Suncoast,
Land of the Bad,
Land of Bad, the Wonderful Story of Henry Sugar or whatever that is. That's gonna be interesting. Upgraded is the other one, and Ashes on Netflix. That's the last one. So,
Dave,
9 o'clock.
Someday you and I have to sit down and do a old school. I think Dave and I might be doing a old school DVD show someday, and showcasing some old stuff that a lot of people may, with physical media, for the people that check this out, for those of us who still collect physical media, there's going to be come a point in time where there may be titles out there that never exist beyond the medium that they are, whether that is VHS, whether it's DVD, whether it's Blu-ray, and
Laserdisc.
Laserdisc for that matter. There's all kinds of physical media out there that we Dave and I were talking about doing a show in the future where we showcase things that may not have gone beyond the medium that they were on. So if you're out there thrifting someday and you find a piece and you're like, man, I've never seen this before, that might be the last medium that it was on, whether it was VHS, whether it was a snap case, a DVD, a Blu-ray, might not make it further than that. And these are the kind of films that we want to showcase to some people out there in the world that may be out there. What is this? What is going on? But that's a future project we're still working on. So
awesome.
Yeah, we're in the development stage on that. Something like an island of misfit toys.
Mm-hmm.
That we're gonna put out. But
but everybody who's watching, please hit that like button. Please hit that follow.
Please do.
For everybody here. For everybody.
Please, we all have sub to all these guys, and keep tabs on us because we'll be releasing stuff. We have a special high five coming on March 18th.
Yep.
Where we're going to have an Oscar Fantasy League. We're bringing in the members of the Collectors Club, and we're going to do basically a fantasy draft for your ultimate Oscar favorites. Whether they won or not, whatever your favorites are, you'll be drafting your own category, and and picking your things, and then everyone else in the group will be deciding who wins that award. So that's going to be good. It's a week following the Oscars. Our Oscar show follow up is the 11th of March, where we're going to go over the winners and losers from the Oscars and the Razzies, which airs on the 9th of March. So the Razzies are on the
Marvel's
9th.
in there, but I didn't say anything.
I'm looking for Expend Affordables to sweep, or at least Riches.
I picked that for everything.
He picked that for almost everything except for like Meg 2. I think he picked Meg 2 for something. But and then the 10th is the Oscars, and the 11th is our follow-up show. So that's going to be a lot of fun. But yeah, I think that's it. But yeah, stay tuned. We got some stuff coming down that are and we're going to release our themes for the second half of the year for the high fives.
Yeah, we are.
So
I definitely hope I get another chance to do another high five here.
You better
dude, we're going for another high five.
Yes.
Before we get out of here, I want to get serious for a minute. If you are struggling with mental health of any kind, and I know that it's harder for men to get help, but just get help. There's always help.
Please do. Anybody, for that matter. Yeah. Agree with Rich there.
I have a couple people in my life that struggle with mental health, so get help, guys. There's always help out there. So on that note, God bless, and thank you for watching.
Appreciate everybody. Again, hit the subscribe. Everybody on here, if you're a fan of movies, if you're a fan of physical media, if you're a fan of anything that has to do with cinema, hit any of us up. We're always happy to chat with you. Always happy to make a new friend. If you're always out there looking for somebody to talk to, any of us, anybody in this group, that'd be happy to chat with you. If you're watching this, if you're shy, hit us up, man.
Yeah, man.
We're always looking for new people to chat with.
Yeah, no, we're here. We're your friends as well. We're here for you. We'll back you up if you need it. Or if you just need someone to listen to, you can get on Spotify because we'll be there too.
Yeah.
Sure.
But you guys, this has been a great show. I'm looking forward to Cop Out. Probably next month. I think we're going to do Cop Out in March. So look for like the last bit of March. We'll probably set Cop Out up. But you guys check us, come by and see us for By the Numbers on Wednesday. That'll be at 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Eastern time, or 9 p.m. Rich's time, because I have to teach him to do that. And I now have to teach Adam. So
I'm working all the time.
I've got time zones covered for these guys.
Yeah.
You guys, this has been awesome. And
thank you guys,
take care, be safe. God bless.
Have a good
we'll
one.
see you next
God bless.
Take care, guys.
Bye, everybody.